So, Melina, you guys are cutting in a little close today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For small talk, I was over, in a nail salon. You eavesdrop on a few conversations, and it was wedding related.
Was it
at
Tuesday?
nail salon.
You're always at nail salon. Every time we got to record, you're at the nail salon.
Every 3 weeks. Okay. But this one I was like, my ears are in. This woman got married like a week and a half ago, and she was talking about how the wedding was great, but she was trying to get her money back from the DJ because they switched the MC on her, and the MC didn't follow like the playlist, and then the photo booth wasn't working. So she's trying to get money on that. And then to make it worse, they leave to Croatia for their honeymoon. 2 days into her honeymoon, she gets banging on her hotel door. Her phone's blowing up. They're like, the person banging on the door, I guess is hotel. Someone was calling the hotel from her family. So like, you need to check your phone. There's a family emergency. She picks up. Her mom is crying that her grandmother is passing away. So she has to lie to her grandmother on the phone on her honeymoon. Then has to fly back home. So they cut their 11-day trip short to 2 days. Pays $3,000 to fly back home.
Emergency.
Does the funeral, all that stuff. And she's like, her family's like, rebook something because she's a teacher and go back on another honeymoon, do something before you go back to work. So they booked the trip to Grenada. And then as we're at the nail salon, the news comes on that there's 2 hurricanes forming in the Caribbean. And she's just she's like, you gotta be shitting me right now.
That's crazy.
I don't know if this is a sign. I don't know, just
a sign. Oh my God. These scheduling, you know what? We are dealing with scheduling conflicts this morning. So Karis wakes up this morning and she hits me, as she normally does, when she finally realizes
Well, you hit me in the middle of the night. Oh my God.
Well, actually, no. I didn't hit you. I hit you this morning because I heard a ruckus downstairs. And I was trying to see if it was you making the ruckus, right? But no, my hand landed on someone. It was you. And I was just making sure you're alive, okay? I was just I just swung blindly.
You do that a lot. I'm like, hello?
There was a ruckus downstairs. I was just trying to making sure my wife is safe,
You thought it was a thief?
Anyway, right? So anyway, I went back to bed. I was like, okay, she's here. We're safe, right? And then I don't know, sometime later in the morning, she hits me now, right? She's like, oh my God, my aunts are coming into town. First week of November. Guess what we're doing? First week of November. Molina's?
Disney again?
No, NBA.
Yeah,
NBA.
we're going to be in Vegas.
Because it's not just that they're coming into town. If they're just coming in, that's fine. But they're only coming in for like 10 days. And my parents are planning to like travel with them. So kids and LEs are going to have to watch themselves and take themselves to school.
They're not quite old enough to watch themselves yet.
They used to leave me alone when I was like 8 years old.
Those 80s movies where kids used to be left home alone. Don't tell mom the babysitter's dead.
I mean, granted, we were a different generation. We were more independent than the generation of today.
That's how I grew up in Brooklyn. And you guys, Queens of Staten Island, right? I mean, did you guys have keys growing up, like keys to the house?
Yeah.
So there was always somebody home, but I would take the train from one side of Queens all the way to Manhattan when I was like 8, 9 years old.
Yeah, I would take the buses. I would take the buses from one side of Brooklyn to the other, and I would also take the train from Brooklyn to Manhattan all the time.
Yeah.
So
can you imagine your kids doing that today? How would you feel if your kids
going down the block, man? God love them. They're really bright kids, but like I think they can go as far as like down the block, maybe. Like one time we walked down to Rita's.
Now she's smart.
We went to Rita's, right? Just to walk to Rita's. I would say it's probably like a half a mile away. It's like, oh my God, this is so far. This is such a long ass walk. I was like, had this been the 80s, this still isn't far enough for you to get like this kind of bus passes. Like this is how far I would have to walk to go home. You know what I mean? Uphill both ways.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
now what are you guys going to do?
We're going to have to figure it out, man.
Well,
this is the life.
Good thing is plane tickets are not bought yet. So I wrote to my aunts this morning. Yep, I was like, if we could reschedule or move some dates around.
Have them come over during Thanksgiving. That's the best time to come. And then, Rockefeller Center's all lit up.
It's not just about them either, okay? There are many things that's involved in traveling.
I already spent the points to go on this trip.
It's not easy as you just going whenever you want because you have my parents. Hello.
It's the problem with Thanksgiving is flights are usually like double.
Yep.
Well, they're coming over from Korea.
And no,
Korea,
and
so it's
then,
even more expensive.
yeah, and then it's colder. So I was like, why don't you come in like October or something? You know, like I don't know. We'll see.
Well, this is a struggle that many, I think, wedding professionals struggle with. Trying to coordinate these things, not just conferences, but even just weekends and stuff, babysitters or whatever.
You don't.
Karis looks stressed.
You don't. You don't. I do. I actually do.
Ben just roams freely.
Yeah,
he just does whatever he wants.
There's no kids. There's not even Ellie. No.
Why? This is the pick on Ben show today? I mean, come on.
Every day is.
I do a lot of things.
NBA is like a short trip. NBA is what, 2-3 days? So it's a shorty at least.
3 days. Yep.
Yeah.
So
So I call
what do we bring the kids? Like I like thought it hit me like late last night I was about to fall asleep. I was like, oh my God, do we bring the kids now? What about Ellie? Like, where's Ellie gonna go? I was like,
Ellie can go to the Marinas. Well, I think
then Jack, Sophie, and Ellie will just watch themselves.
I mean, well, does Moses watch your dogs when you guys are away? You guys have a pound, not a pound, but a boarding
for short
house?
trips. Like if we're gone like 1 to 3 days and they're free, they'll come.
Watch.
Yeah, they'll come to the house like 2 or 3 times a day to walk them and feed them. Yeah.
For longer trips, we do have a sitter.
Yeah, they have a sitter.
The dogs don't wreck the house?
They go to her house.
No.
Yeah. Oh, they go to
They're
your
pretty
house.
good. Like
the sitter comes.
As long as the bathroom's doors are closed, because they have this thing of going in the bathroom garbage and tearing the toilet paper tissue as well. So just close the bathroom doors and they're good.
No, but for longer trips, they go to a sitter's house.
Yeah.
When they're here with Moses, it's just a couple of days. So
yeah,
I mean, they might leave a little mess for Moses. Sorry, Moses.
and he's so kind to us. He's so kind to us too. All the slides.
He's actually making sliders right now.
Is he really? Let's go over after this recording. You guys ready to get this podcast started?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right. Guys, welcome to the Focus AF podcast. My name is Ben.
I am Karis.
This is Jen.
And this is Ro.
And this is Nikisha.
We are Focused AF. Are you guys Focused AF? No. That's good.
We're trying to be right now. We're trying to get on track here.
Yeah. So today we have a very, very special guest joining us today. And she's going to be one of our speakers at our upcoming summit next January 11th at the Focused AF Summit right here in Central Jersey. So without further ado, I want you guys to meet our new friend, Nikisha King. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. Thank you, guys.
Welcome.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to the madness, Nikisha.
I know, just complete madness.
Somehow
right
we
now.
keep everything together with crazy glue and Scotch tape. Sometimes it
I think
feels
that's the
like that
best way to keep it. Just keep it. Yes, that's the way.
So anyway, let's hear a little bit more about you. Let's introduce you to our audience. Tell us a little bit about you and what you do and all that stuff. Tell us everything.
So this is the part that's always daunting for me because you're asking me to speak about myself and I'm just like, why? But I'll share a little bit so everyone can know who I am. My name is Nikisha. I am the founder and chief business officer of Nikisha King Collective. And we're a collective because we have 3 companies within one brand. So we have Nikisha King Design House, where we're a graphic design agency. We specialize in working with event and wedding planners, doing custom invitations and stationery and branding. Been doing that for 14 years, so a lot of my fun happened there. And then we have the Nikisha King Focus Formula. That's our business strategy and consulting company where we work with business owners, wedding professionals, service-based professionals, and just getting comfortable and confident in their sales process so they can actually grow and thrive in their business. And then I have the Nikisha King podcast. It's called Leading Her Way. And her is actually an acronym for human, evolving, and resilient. And I love that because as a woman of color, any other woman, we are just evolving and resilient in so many ways. And I just kind of on that podcast speak about us and our business, our mindset, how to shift, how to see a new perspective, how to grow. And that's pretty much who I am. So I have these 3 companies I run. And I have teams, of course, because I do not do one-man shows. I love having a team because I enjoy relationships. And these are just the things I enjoy doing. So that's why I'm a chief business officer, not a creative director. I don't create, I let my artists create. I do some of that work, but as a business, I thrive in that. So that's why I'm a chief business officer. And other than my business, yes, I do have a family. Yes, I do have kids and I have all the pets, not all, because there's a lot more out there. But I have a dog, 2 birds, 2 girls. They're 8. Well, they're actually 9 and 12 this year, and I'm married. And somehow it all works out. And I think it just works out because I'm present. I'm present whenever I'm present. So on Friday through Sunday, I do not work. I am not in the office. And Monday through Thursday, I go hard at working. That's it.
Did you guys go on
Awesome.
any kind of adventures this summer? Any
Yeah,
kind of
we
trips?
actually went to Grand Cayman. And it was an amazing trip. We stayed at the Ritz, and I usually have fun because when I go anywhere, I am a social bug. So I speak to all of the people who work there, like more of the people who work there, because I'm just intrigued by what they do and how they show up. And as a business owner, that makes me like just love learning about their story. And then I usually live with like one person who isn't from there but vacationing. And it was so funny because on that trip, I actually had a conversation with a young lady, and she may be 9. And she was like amazing. And we were having a chat. And then I met her mom after. Her mom owns a business, like 3 companies, like 3 retail shops in, I think, Dallas or in Texas. And we got to know each other, of course. And it was just, when I usually travel, I usually get to know at least one family member. And that's like something, it's not intentional, but it just happens. But that's like my adventure. And what we did when we went to the hotel, we made sure not to just stay on the hotel. So we would catch like one of those cabs or bus. And we took our kids outside off the premise. We'll go eat at local places so we can invest in them and just enjoy their foods. Yeah, so it was really good. We chartered a boat. We went on a boat ride to the Stingray area. It was a lot of things. I was just like, this is a lot. Like this, I'm not into all the fishes, and I love them, but I'm just like, yeah, I'm not
you
touching
didn't go
anything.
and swim with the fishes?
I did, but it was just not a thing that I want to do again. It was like one-time experience, and that was it. So,
Check it off.
You're there,
Yeah.
right?
That's my
Just do it.
What you like and what you don't like, and don't have to do it again.
Exactly. Especially with stingrays, because they already have a story to them. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. But it was pretty cool and intense. At least my girls tried it, so they've experienced it as well.
Yeah. I think that's one of the favorite parts of what we do when we travel. We do try to explore a little bit, get off the resorts just a little bit, just see what the locals are doing, seeing what they're eating, and just kind of experience their space, their environment, the way that the locals are experiencing it. You know, I think that's great for the kids as well. They're going to remember that for sure. It's going to be a core memory for them, I hope. So
it is. We had a great time, and we all love the ocean. I'm not a fan of the Atlantic. I'm gonna let you know that right now. I don't do the Atlantic. I don't care what anyone says.
It's not as clear, right? If I can't see my feet,
it's rough. No, thank you.
Wait, you can't see your feet in the Atlantic Ocean?
I don't know.
Yeah, typically because they'll.
I mean, up here you go.
Yeah, it depends on the weather, but
not at Seaside Heights. No, you can't see them. You can't see your feet. Seaside. All right. Well, that's cool. Sounds like you guys had quite an adventure this summer. That's great. So let's talk about your journey into entrepreneurship. How did that journey start?
Let's see. So it started in 2009. So from high school, I was always in a health field because I wanted to become a physician. And I worked for 2 physicians. And when I worked for them, I got to see the kind of back end in regards to their family life, how that is. And there were a lot of challenges. And the people I worked for were just a pediatric doctor and a general practitioner. And so that's like the calmest fields you can work in. And they just had some dynamics in their family. So as I was going on my journey, I wanted to become a thoracic surgeon. I didn't want to take the easy road because that's just not my life. I don't do things easy. And I was like, that's not the fun. Like, I want to be able to crack things open and get really curious about them. And I knew if I took that path, I don't think I would have had the home life I have today. So I decided not to go forward to med school. So I went to healthcare administration. I was working on that. I achieved my master's in public health and business administration. And when I did that, I didn't know. Actually, I did because I had my business 2009. I started school around the same time. And when I was doing business or just in the field of study, I didn't know what I would do because being in the health field, we're not taught to be independent. We work as a team. We're working in an organization. So I was speaking to a friend who's a planner one day, and she kind of mentioned invitations, and I was doing invitations for my wedding. And when I did invitations for my wedding, it was the only time I was present. What that means is I wasn't in my brain. I wasn't being logical, analytical. I wasn't overthinking. I was just creating, and it was easy and comfortable and fun and different. And I usually tell people when we're younger, we all are creatives. Somehow it gets snuffed out of us when we go to school and everything becomes technical. You got to be a good reader. You got to do this. You got to do that. So I started there and I just found an affiliate company. You buy their products and you sell them. And you sell them at Keystone, 50% it. And I just started that way. And from there, it kind of pivoted because people wanted something custom. And then I started to have a new challenge, right? Where I started to try something new and do some things custom. And then that allowed me to go into Illustrator and InDesign and working in those areas and learning those software and starting to do custom work. And then it just came into a place where now I became a salesperson because I would have to sell my services and I was doing custom. So I wasn't relying heavily on an affiliate. So I started to learn that process and I did things. And by the 10th, 11th year, I was still struggling. Because when I'm in that process, I became a mom with 2 girls. And people nowadays still, we all have our challenges. We all have those growing pains. And at that moment, I couldn't work because I was giving my attention to my kids. Right. So it was so interesting because by the time we moved to Jersey, because I'm originally from Brooklyn, when we moved here in 2015, my mindset did shift a little bit because I desired something more because now I was in a new environment. I wasn't in my old environment that I've been born and raised in. And when I got into this new environment, I started to shift some. And I went to this one, I remember it so well. It was 2019 of November, right before COVID. I went into this one workshop for the weekend and it was amazing. And this is why I tell people you can never do it alone. Because when you do it alone, you're in your own silo. You have no idea. But when I went there and this stationer, same field as I am, and she showed us how she did it. And what she was promoting that she was going to show us her proposal, her quoting. That's the only reason I paid in to go there. I didn't care about anything else. I wanted to see what she was charging. And when I was there, she was pretty much charging $10,000 for the whole stationery process. And she didn't do anything. Like she wasn't designing. She had a team. She was the printing company. It was such a different way of doing business. And I was looking at her like, one, I'm home. I charge $1,000 just for invitations. And I'm literally fighting my printer to print the envelope and get it right and not have to like struggling. And when I saw her world and she opened it up to me, I was just like, first I was mad. I came up with all the thoughts of blaming someone else. I became the victim in the story. Like, how dare you? You can do this because you're a non-person of color. You can do this because this and that. Created this whole story. And then I had to go, nope, that is not the story. It's me, right? It's me. What am I going to do to get where I want to go? And I remember that Sunday night, the last day I came home, my whole insides was in flames. I could literally feel it. I was on fire because I was so motivated to shift. And then that day I shifted everything. I worked on my mindset, my sales, and now I'm in a different mindset, different place. I love selling. So many things have shifted. So that's pretty much my journey. That's how it looks in a nutshell.
Was that your first kind of workshop that you attended or kind of educational piece that you had gone to?
Yes, it was. Yes, it was. It was the first time I decided to invest in myself.
Yeah. I think that's a story that we can all relate to a little bit. I remember going to like my first conference for photography, and then you learn so much, you absorb everything. You thought you knew it all, and then you learn so much, and then you can't wait to get home and implement everything. And I mean, even now, over 10 years in, we still go to conferences every year, still come home with something, and you just keep pushing forward. And
it also keeps you humble. Like when you think that you're in your market and you're killing it in your area, and then you go to these conferences and you find out that you're not doing as well as other people are, and you kind of have that wake up call too, like to be humble and just keep hustling.
And one of the most important things that I learned from, I don't know where I heard it, but even if you spent $1 bajillion to attend a conference or a workshop, right? Even if you come out of that conference with one new idea or one new tip or one new strategy, right? However small it might be, then it was time and effort well spent, you know? There's always going to be something to learn. Even if you feel like you know everything, there's always something to learn from someone, even if they came on after you, you know what I mean? So there's always value in these sort of things. And I mentioned this also during my live this week, and actually I'll give credit to this one to Michael T. Davis. You guys know who he is, right? So he was like, you attend these workshops and these conferences to learn and all this information. And the thing is, there's all this information. For better or worse, you can find this information. You're very, very diligent about it. You can find this information for free on YouTube or Google or whatever it is, right? But the real value in attending these conferences and workshops, really just the people that you get to meet, these people that you get to learn from. It might not be something they're teaching in class. It might be just something that just comes out of them while you're sharing a coffee or a pastry or a drink or whatever it is, right? That's the real value. And also the meaningful relationships that you're able to make with other people who are, in that world with you. These are not just just randos out there in the universe. These are people who are small business owners just like you. These are photographers or videographers or stationers or coaches or course creators, whatever it is, right? They are living in the same world as you are, and they might have similar struggles. They might have some experiences that can help you in your life, in your work, or whatever it is.
So when you came home from that conference, Nikisha, how did things change for you?
So first and foremost, what Ben was saying, what came to me was, it's not what you know, it's who you know. And that's such a big saying. And it's so important. People don't realize that. They've been saying that for years. That's not new, but somehow it doesn't click until you start connecting. So I just wanted to say that on that. So that's a great point, Ben. And when I came home, when I was at the conference, the funniest thing happened. It was a couple. And they were speaking about when they started in Long Island, they went on Craigslist to find a space to rent. And it dawned on me when I came home, I was like, hold on, Craigslist? Like, no one looks at that anymore. That was old news in 2019. So I went on and it's to my surprise, I found a space that was so affordable in one of our high net locations or areas in New Jersey in Summit, because that was the next step, to get a space that I can have my consultations, because I used to do bridal shows and I wanted a space where they wouldn't be coming into my home or my space anymore. And then I found one, and then I had to make a decision because it was either 1 year or 2 year. But if you did 2 year, you get it at a lower rate. It was like $400 a month if you do 2 year contract or agreement. And then I had to make that decision, right? And that was all a whole thing. When I think about it now, that was like nothing. But in that moment, it was everything, because it was my first big decision of a financial 2 year risk. And I remember I did it and I was so proud, and we renovated the space, made it mine. I love that journey in itself. And I had a place to call my own where I could do calls, I could do meetings and have people come in and feel. So I created the space and it was so good. And even because after that we hit COVID. So remember, in the event industry, I wasn't using it because we weren't doing events. But even the person who was running the building, oh my gosh, he was amazing. His name is John, like my husband. He was just understanding, worked with me. The second year I wanted to cancel, and before my term was over, but I was able to have my next door neighbor take over my lease. I remember paying my last payment and them sending me the check back, because they would that's just their way of doing business, to the point where now I'm speaking about him and highly, because he was so good during that whole time. But that was the first thing I did after that actual networking event. And what I really didn't know, what they were giving me at that event that I still didn't know, was the abundance mindset. Not being a tugboat, but being a lighthouse. And they were sharing that. And of course, when you're in it just for the quote, you're like, it's just going over your head. But then a year later, after there's a book that I love that I read, I realized, that's what they were doing. But you're not even in that world. So of course, when they were doing it, you didn't know what they were doing, but they were in that world of how to shift your mindset, how to look at things differently, a perspective. So it still keeps on giving, even though it was finished. And that was pretty cool. There's things, of course, that I didn't agree with on how they did things, because they just vanished after it, because it was kind of a flux of financial. But I will always give them credit for the thing that they did for me, which was shift my mindset, my perspective, gave me a whole new outlook, and I went for it. So that was it.
What was this book? Maybe we can share it with the readers. It's
called A Happy Pocket Full of Money by Cameron Gakandi. And it was introduced to me in 2021. And I know that because I just spoke about it, and I have gifted it many times over because I have a podcast on it. Because the person I gifted to loved it. Everyone I gifted it to have loved it. They still do today. Like, I still share that book abundantly. And it's such a really good book. But it's not a book you read once and call it a day.
Of course.
Because if that's the case, then you won't get anything from it. You'll get some good stuff. But I usually read it 3 or 4 times. And when I'm out of alignment, when my values, my things are not right, I just read it and it just snaps me back. I'm like, all right, let's go. So it's one of my favorite books.
I'm going to include it in the show notes as well.
I'm definitely going to look for the audiobook.
Yeah.
You could do it. It has the audiobook. They have, my husband has the audiobook and I have the book, but then he had to get the book because it just does something different. But any way you listen and do it, you'll get something from it.
That's awesome. How did you feel after having to get out of your space? Because we had the same experience. We had, you have your own studio, your own office, and then, like you said, you were excited to bring people into your space, see what you create, have that experience, and then after COVID, just kind of like shifted everything over. How was the shift back to what you had to do before for you?
So for me, it shifted completely. When I wanted to get out of it, it's because I shifted my business model. So I was no longer doing bridal shows and locals, because bridal shows, when you go there, there's a certain budget restraint when you work with couples because they don't see the value as of yet. So when I shifted my business model, working exclusively with planners, I didn't need to do bridal shows because I priced myself out of that. But that was part of my journey. My journey was to go, Nikisha, ask for what the work and the value you bring is worth to the market. So that's what I did. Therefore, I didn't need a place. And during COVID, I did the opposite. I connected more than ever in COVID. I didn't isolate. I didn't personally isolate myself. I was on Zoom prior to COVID. So while people were discovering it, I already knew how to manage it. So it was nothing new for me. It was a better opportunity because now everybody was in my world. So I was able to take advantage of that. So what I kind of done and created is the first quarter of every year I have connection. So it's my time where people are low in season and I just speak to people and connect with them. And when I did that in 2021, something shifted that I never even knew. That's how Focus Formula came about. Every time I had a conversation with someone, I would hear, oh my God, that was so good. I wasn't expecting that. Man, this was really good. And every time I got off the call with someone and they said that to me, I'm like, what are they talking about? Right? What is that? I don't know. I didn't know because that was not my normal behavior. Before COVID, I hardly spoke to anyone. I was isolated because as a business owner, you're in your own world. So when that happened, I was doing a lot more speaking. So I was identifying another talent I had that I didn't know about. My capability of listening well, my capability of asking deep questions and having people do a lot of thinking, but not like unnecessary thinking. And in doing that, it was just something that happened and it was really good. So giving up my office had nothing to do with me closing because of COVID, but it was the business model changed. So I didn't need an office. The office is the US and international. It's the whole world. Like I work with people around the world. I manage, like my clients are in California, majority of them. There's hardly anyone in Jersey, right? Like that is what I've been doing for the last 2 years.
Yeah, I think we all started in the bridal show world. And like you said.
Yeah, definitely. Like you're totally like dead on about the budget restraints.
Yeah.
Like we did them for years and they were successful for us for the early stages. And as we priced ourselves out, like it was just too much time and investment. And we would just like book one wedding out of it, which kind of, we made our money back. But the time that it take for prepping and following up, it just wasn't worth it for us. And, in the end.
But it's a good launch pad and a starting place for you as you're learning and growing within your business and which direction you do want to take your business.
It's
At some
true.
point, you realize this is not the market I want to be in. So
Yep.
how can I elevate to what I do want to be in?
Right. And you're right about that. It is a good starting point because when I was doing it, I got comfortable speaking, selling, connecting, right? I was learning those skills at that location. So it was never unnecessary. It wasn't anything I wish I didn't do. I love the fact that I did it because it put me out and all the preparation. Yeah, that's a lot, but it created this discipline and habit. It created something within. So that's business though. Everything you do and you think you're failing or not doing well, it is something good coming out of it because you're learning. Like I tell people, when you're comfortable, you're not learning crap. Like comfortable doesn't mean growth. It just means comfort, right? It's when I'm very uncomfortable and I have to do something that's new to me. Oh my gosh, that's like where I'm thriving because I'm transforming. And then after that, I'm going to become good at something else. I get to add another skill to my arsenal. And I kind of love that.
That's
I love
awesome.
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your focus formula. Your I believe is it a coaching program? Is it a course? Is it a combination of both?
Focus Formula is the brand that runs all of our courses and programs. So I have something called the Red Carpet Experience. That's my course. So that's a 3-month course. But how it works, we have a Red Carpet Experience Challenge where I walk like 5 days, someone through the actual process. And what it is, your lead process. It's helping business owners become really good with their lead process, how to create a client journey that builds trust. So by the time you get on the call with someone, they're ready to be converted. Like there is no challenge and there's so many ways people do it and it's however you do it, but there's little things you miss that are so subtle, but they can do a lot for you. So an example of that is like everyone has an inquiry form on their website and everyone has a different, how can I say, response to that inquiry form. So say I came on a site, I did their form and I hit that send button. Here's where it gets really interesting. You hit that submit button, send button, you get taken either one back to a portfolio page that's public. They've already seen that. That's why they inquired with you. So sending them there doesn't really have value. You send them to social media. That's annoying because they were already there. Trust me, they scoped you out. And now you just send them back to a place they really had no interest in, right? And then sometimes you hit send and you get a little message that says, thank you. Respond in 24 to 48 hours. The first question I get when I see that message is, did you even get it? Or did it end up in spam? Will you see it in 24? Are you going to answer me? All of those questions. And if I'm questioning you from an inquiry form, I'm going to question you a lot of other ways. I'm letting you know that right now. I'm not going to trust you because your process isn't really clear or it wasn't seamless. And if it's not seamless here and I'm trusting you with the money I'm investing in you, then I'm very nervous on how you're going to be while doing business with me. So what we do is we help our business owners create a thank you page. It's a very simple thing. It's like your About Us page. It's just an image and words. But what are those words, right? Like, what are you doing? And I tell people when someone inquire, you need to tell them what's next. My clients want to know what's next. They don't want to be left in the nowhere zone of, I don't know what's about to come my way. And you want to remind them. You want to do simple reminders. I remind them on a thank you page, add it to your contact or address book so we don't end up in spam because we're about to send you an email. So it's just things like that. And then I have it where I teach them how to keep people in your world a little bit longer. And that does not mean social media. That does not mean portfolio, but add value. So for us, we help our clients figure out how to create their guest lists in 3 steps. And they mostly have their guests do it where they don't have to get overwhelmed with calling and texting and emailing. And I created something for them that's just easy. And that's how they can do that. So I give value because if they don't choose me, they don't have to, but this still can help them with whoever they choose. I believe in giving more than asking for more. You know what I mean? So that's what the Red Carpet Experience is about, is helping business owners be mindful of the client journey and show up in a way that when they get that experience and you get on a call, they're like, oh my gosh, where have you been? We've been looking for you, you know? So that's what the Red Carpet Experience is about.
And I think that's helpful, especially now, well, for newer business owners or older business owners. You know, we're shifting into a post-COVID world where it's actually kind of going back to to normal, quote unquote, as far as like inquiry rates and bookings, and people are kind of feeling the heat of like, there's not enough traction, and I think no one really thinks about the inquiry form, like you mentioned, and I already writing down like how to improve mine because I think I have the generic thank you. So now I'm like, how can I add more value, like you said, once they submit the form? And I think giving them that extra value, like you give them the thing for the guest list, keeps you top of mind of someone being helpful, as opposed to like, I submitted an inquiry form and then I forgot who I reached out to. And then if I get a response, I get a response. I think that's something super healthy. And a lot of people don't think about how to serve clients, or they just kind of are expecting them to land in their lap as far as becoming their client. They don't realize you have to
earn it.
Be helpful from the beginning.
Right. And it's not, here's the thing. When I was 10, 11 years in my business and I was in a cloud of area, I was surviving. So when I'm surviving, I'm not thinking of others. I'm thinking about myself, right? This is what people don't realize, why scarcity and abundance is so important. Because when I don't think there's enough, I'm always going to be in survival mode. Survival mode means I'm not thinking about a client journey, because all I'm thinking about is how to get them in the door, how to convert them, how to make money, how to support my family, because I don't have enough. But when I got into the abundance mindset, I had more than enough. So it was never about the making of it. It was, how can I serve you the best of my ability? Because if I serve you really well, I know I'm going to do well financially. I don't have to worry about that. It's going to come to me from every corner. But I've learned how to improve my client journey. So when people come through the door, the red carpet is down for them when they walk in. And I can't express to you how great it feels, because when I'm on a call with you and you're like, where do I sign and how much, and you want to send me all the money, and I got to be like, hold up, pause. I just need my retainer, because it's going to get higher, but I just need my retainer. And that's it. Like, that for me is amazing. And when sometimes it's a compliment from another business owner because they don't see it. And remember, in the wedding industry, they're working with so many creative partners. It's not only me. So when you even stand out in that way, that speaks volumes, to the point where now they see how you operate. Of course, now people are getting married in their world. Of course, they're going to refer them to you. But it's because I no longer have a view of survival, but I have a view of how can I give. So that's why I kind of created it for people, because I understand they're not able to see. There is no negative or positive or good or bad about that. I get it. I was once there, so I totally understand. I couldn't see anything. I was in a storm. But to have that gift where someone understands that and they can pass something along to help you, is just part of the world that we're in now, where we're more of a community than a competition, which I kind of like so much better than the competition world.
And I think giving from a pure place, from actually good intentions, and adopt this mindset, but still expect something back, or get upset if they don't see the benefits right away. And it just has to come from, the goodness of your heart and good intentions. And, and then if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, you just have to continue to give to your community and to your client.
Right. And if you don't know how to serve, you can ask, how can I make your life easier? What can I, this weekend, I went to talk to a planner. I was like, listen, I know that you work with a lot of photographers and a lot of creatives, but what can I do as a photographer to make your life easier today? What can I do to help you, with your business or with what we're doing today, And she was like, no one's ever asked me that before. And she really appreciated it. And she told me what she needed. And I was like, I got you, So I think it's super important. I agree with you, Nikisha, 1000%. I don't think there are enough people that come from a service first mentality. And I think a lot of it does come from a scarcity mindset, where it's like more of like a me first. How can I enrich myself first? Because I need to take care of these basic needs first.
Right. Exactly. And there's a couple things on that. Like, one, what I had to pay attention to is, we're humans, right? So we're supposed to be the highest form on earth, right? Intelligence wise. And then you see birds. So I live Garden State, Jersey. You have birds everywhere. You have trees, you have flowers, you have so many things.
Got birds. But not the kind of birds you're probably thinking about, though.
So even having them and seeing them, they survive every day. Like, they're like killing it 24/7. And I'm like, if they can do it, why Can I? Like, I'm okay. I've been okay for so long. And for me, it's always been a mindset thing. But when I read The Happy Pocket Full of Money, that is one thing it shared with me about giving. When I give, there is nothing I desire back from the person I'm giving. I give wholeheartedly. And I know for a fact that it comes back from somewhere else in some other way. It doesn't come back the exact way. And to see the evidence of it gives me full confidence in it. So it never makes me question it. I've seen it. I've seen it when I was going through my transformation. It was so funny because, of course, you're saying, well, how do you get to the abundance mindset, right? Like, how do you do it, right? Like, because everybody knew about the secret, but the secret never told you how. It just told you this stuff, and people called it woo-woo. And that's where that word came from, right? But when I read A Happy Pocket, it tells you how it happens. And then when I was going through the transformation with it, I was like, what is this? And then to my surprise, something showed up in the mail from my old job. They were looking for me. They wanted my address. And I'm like, well, why are you looking for me? Come to find out, they had $8,000 for me. I left my old job sometime in 2011. This was like 2019, 2021. So in all that time, they had a second retirement account for me that I didn't know about. And that was mind blowing because all of a sudden I had $8,000 in my hands without even doing anything. And that's when my transformation was like evidence. And after that, oh my God, the checks, they just come all this. They come so much. I'm like, what is this? You know, those things that tell you they've been a whole group claim, and you're like, I'm not doing this document because it's a waste of time. Then you just get the check. It just comes to you because you don't have to do anything.
I want some of these documents.
I don't know where they come from. I get all of them from AT&T and it's been ages since I've been with them. They just come out the woodwork, but that's the abundant mindset for me. That's my evidence. It never fails, and it happens so much. I just got money from Facebook. I still don't know why I got it, but I got it. So,
we just heard about that today. Someone sent us it's like a $26 million settlement or something, and you have to put in a claim for it. I don't know.
Is it is it because of the privacy?
It's split up between like 1 billion people.
Yeah, it had to do something with I think the agency that Trump used to like push the campaigns through Facebook.
How much money did you guys get?
It was something of I have no idea, but it's 750 million apparently. But there's 87 million like people on Facebook. So
you get 30 cents.
Yeah, like $6. You get $6.
Yeah, but I consider that $6 richer or 30 cents richer than what you were today. Yeah,
I'll take it. I will take it.
Hey, I'll take a cup of coffee any day of the week. That's free.
I wonder where you're getting that coffee from. The bodega down the street.
Unfortunately, here where we live, I wish we had a bodega down the street.
No, they're literally $6. Yeah. So those $6 are going.
That's the one thing that I do miss about leaving New York City. Is like having that 24-hour access to like a bacon, egg, and cheese and a coffee whenever I want it.
By the way, Nikisha, I don't know if I told you this. We're all New Yorkers, minus my wife.
Well, we all understand the whole lingo. Like,
you're among your people. So,
yes.
All right. Well, actually, Jen's from Staten Island, so she doesn't count.
You're so wrong, Ben.
That's the forgotten borough.
It was so funny. We had an inquiry for a Staten Island wedding, right? And our VA, she was like, "Please forgive me. I'm not familiar with New York City, but is Staten Island part of New York City?" I was like, "I think Staten Island thinks so." they seem to think so.
Wrong. My meeting that just stopped by, they are from Staten Island. The couple I just met.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
I say this all in jest. I love you all, Staten Islanders, for all the Staten Islander people who listen. You know, actually, James Blue listens to the podcast, and he's from Staten Island. So big shout out to James Blue. Okay.
No, I wanted to hear a little bit more about the red carpet experience. I think maybe not too much, because I think that's what you're talking about at the summit, right?
Yeah.
But a little bit more of like what you wanted to share with us today.
So, and just what I shared with you about just the client journey, being mindful about it, helping your potential client before they invest in you, helping them to see your value, showing up in a way that's different, showing up in a way that stands out. And everyone usually speaks about your ideal client. It speaks about standing out, your niche. When I was new to the business, this was still the same conversation. The frustrating part is I had no clue what they meant. But the reason I had no clue what they meant was because I wasn't practicing my craft. That's the thing people don't understand. The reason you can't understand it is because when you don't practice, because either one, you're a perfectionist and you become paralyzed. You're not doing anything because you're scared it's not going to be perfect. Or when you're always questioning yourself and rethinking and overthinking. All of those things stop you from actually creating. So if you want to do a funnel, you don't understand it because you're not even trying to do it. And it's okay to mess up. Messing up is part of the process. You're supposed to mess up so you actually can get really good at it. And when you keep working at it and then people start throwing the words out, you'll be like, oh, I know what they mean. And you start getting better because now you can practice it. Like when an ideal client, what does that mean? And it did take me a while to understand what it means. And even doing the red carpet experience, it's about that. Like the red carpet experience for my clients, who it serves people who are professionals, high achieving and professionals who are not here like they don't have time to sit and read like a whole 23-page brochure. They don't have time to read a 5-paragraph email. For me, my clients come in, they're like, well, what's the next step? All right, a call, let's do it. What's after that? Okay, let's do it. Okay, my clients love action plans or a timeline, due dates. They are high professionals, so they're used to that world. So when we kind of speak the same language, it's the easy sell for me, right? But that's because I'm very familiar with them because they kind of have some of my traits. That's why I know how to serve them. That's how it works for me. But say that I have a creative who loves doing a 10-email series that's short. There's no problem with that either. The red carpet experience creates that. What's your first impression email? What's the other 9 emails going to have? People do that where they create who are they? Who do they serve? They're very clear on their brand. So by the time you get to the 9th or 10th and you get on a call, you're not thinking about not hiring them. You're like, you're my person, right? That person can convert 100% of the time because they took the work from the beginning. I usually get on the call right away because I can convert you on the call. I can easily know what is your pain points? Can I serve you? And I'm clear about that because I know who my clients are. Like I can hear you and be like, I can help you. Here's how I'm going to help you. That's the easy sell. So it's just done differently. So you can do whatever you have to do differently. The red carpet experience is a guide to help work alongside your process and maybe improve areas. But I'm not here to tell you what you should do, how you should do it, what I think, why my thing is more important. I don't have the energy and time for that. But what I truly want to do is help you. So I take a little bit of what you've been doing, I tweak it and show you a different perspective. And then I help you implement it. And then we see your business grow. Because sales is the only way you can grow. If you can't make a sale, what are you getting? You can have a great marketing system, get everyone at your door, knocking it down. But if you cannot convert them so you can actually produce and deliver, I mean, really, because business is just that, is marketing, sales, and delivery. 3 things for service professionals. So the part where I love is my sales part. The part where I'm speaking to people and I'm being really diligent on hearing what is their pain point and going, I definitely have a thing for that. I can help you with that. And then I deliver on what I told them I can deliver on, So red carpet experience is just that. I'm looking forward to presenting it because we have the challenge, we have a workshop because I truly want my people to succeed. Everyone who's willing, ready, and want to change, then let's do it. I'm more of a person who we can do the thought work because I think that's so important because without it, you really don't get it. But the action also has to be applied, and Ben is big on that. Me and Ben have spoken about that many times. So, but that's for me. But at the same time, people do really need to get it because there's certain subconscious things standing in your way. There is your past. There is your history that loves to come up and be like, hold up. Remember when you did that the last time and you messed up? Don't try it again. And if you can't get over that, then I don't know how you're going to succeed.
So, Nikisha, I don't know if you know this, but you came onto my radar. You caught my attention during one of the many Zoom meetups that we had during the pandemic, and you made a presentation about systems and processes, right? And I think none of this is possible without having systems and processes in place. Also with the right mindset, but also with the right systems and processes in place. So let's talk about a little bit more about building systems, right? Where it's focused on, the growth in your business, or even like adding team members or whatever it is, right? Let's talk about that for a minute.
That's the other favorite thing. Sorry, I didn't say that, but operations is my favorite topic as well. So here's the thing. There's two words that one word you hear a lot. It's called scaling. And people usually think scaling equals growth, but they don't realize they kind of differ a little bit. When I work with companies to grow, that means their volume will grow, how many clients they can hold, the revenue will grow, and possibly their team. And a lot of people who come into industry, they come in solo. And if they're looking forward to getting bigger, they grow because they have a team. So that's your growth stage. But then they get to a place where you're around 300, 400K, where you can scale. Scaling is why, or the reason, systems come in place, because scaling is not about growing your team. Scaling is about growing the volume of the clientele you have and serving, but your team and systems are the same. They can just manage a higher capacity. So it doesn't mean, scaling doesn't mean, oh my God, I have to go get a team of 20 because now you have a team of 10. You can scale and create systems to manage and help with the support and still have a team of 5 or 10 or whatever you have, but there's still capacity for you to add people. And that's what I kind of want to tell people, because people always think scaling is like a panic button where you have to do all these big things. And it's like, no, just keep it calm for a second. Don't go crazy. And scaling happens at different places and different points for every brand. And it differs. It really does. But growing is something, when you're even in that stage, you need to implement systems. Solopreneurs come in, they're in survival mode. They're not building SOPs. Every system in a solopreneur's head lives in their head. They are so used to doing it on their own because the story they tell themselves is, no one can do it like me. And that is one of the biggest lies in the earth. There's someone who could do it way better than you and help you make millions. But you don't know that yet because you keep telling yourself the story, no one can do it better than me. And that's the thing. Your business, yes, it's your baby, but it grows up. You really got to learn that you can't baby it to death, because then you won't grow anywhere. So when my clients get to their 100 mark, 100K mark, 200K mark, we build systems because I have to kind of pull it out their brain. I have to go, well, what is your process? And this is where it gets really challenging because they're so used to doing it on their own. Even when they have a team, they don't depend on their team. They'd be like, I could just do it. And then I go, well, what's the point of having someone? And then that's where a lot of issues come up, because then you, the person, the solopreneur, goes, why do I hire these people if they can't even do the work? But did you train them? No, because I don't have time to. And then you're like, well, I don't know how much you can expect someone to give you if they don't know what to give you or how to give you. And if you're not willing to invest in them or create a system to teach them or train them, then you're really just, it's just this hurdle you're never going to get over. So when I have to work with my clients, once again, it's mindset work, because I have to help them disengage these old stories about doing it better. No one can do it like me. Oh my God, they're going to come in. If I tell them how I do it, they're going to steal my secrets and run away and open their own company. And I go, yeah, scarcity. It shows up so much. And you could just see it and you go, well, if you're going to be in that mind frame, growing for you will be challenging. You can get there, but you're going to have a lot of bumps. And if that's your life and you love the bumps, then do them. But I'm never a right fit for you. I'm usually for the person who wants to make a change, who wants to grow. So I usually work with them. I work with them where they are, and I just help them see. I just ask questions. I don't tell people how to do it, what to do. I know all of my clients have the answers. So building systems is something that I help, because all they have to do is tell me. My brain does it. I give my brain all the credit. You tell me something and my brain just aligns it in item and it just orders it and it goes, well, we're missing this and we can add that. And I give ideas and then we go, that's really good. And resources, I have a lot of them. And then I just help them build out the systems. But at the same time, we do mindset work. They don't realize it though. It's when I get real curious because they just have stuff going on. But that's
so what do you
it about
think is
operation.
that one step? What do you think is that one step that some entrepreneurs can take? What is that switch that they should turn on that'll prepare them to start scaling or start adding, contractors or growing their team or growing their volume or whatever it is? What is that one switch that they should pay attention to, something that they can do to kind of like transform them?
Stop telling yourself that no one can do it as good as you. That's it. That story you keep telling yourself, you need to reframe the story, because there are people who are really good at what they do. And if you invest in them, they can take you so much further than where you are. And if you truly want to grow a business and have something that gives back to you instead of take from you, then stop telling yourself that story and just be open for a journey. Don't think about the outcome, but just get ready for the journey, because it's a really good one. It's really good.
I think Jen and Ro, you guys, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think we're all experiencing this this year. Where you guys for the first time are delegating a pretty nice chunk of your operation of your business to someone else. You're trusting them that they're going to do everything. You trust them with your clients, basically, that they're going to do right by you. And basically, you guys are growing your company and serving your clients better and everything, but you guys are trusting somebody else to kind of take the reins for a good part of that experience with the clients. Am I right? Is this your first time doing it?
Yeah. It's funny, as she's talking, I'm like, I didn't even think about that aspect of our business now. In my head, I'm thinking of
I did.
growing my team and me being the boss. I'm like, no, we haven't scaled to that point yet. But no, we have a partnership with another business who we have definitely entrusted a lot of our clients to, but ultimately had to walk into it willing to let go, because we knew that they were better at that process than we were. Like, I know I cannot sit in a 2-3 hour meeting and sell albums and products and things like that. I'm not a sellable I'm not a salesman, I guess you could say. Of course I'm a salesman because I run a business and I get clients. But when it comes to kind of selling products and things like that, I knew that was my weak point. Right. So when this other company came about, we were like, this is something that we absolutely had to entrust in them, let it go, which was the biggest thing. I think a lot of people that work with this company can't let it go.
Yeah,
that's where they lead to some issues, which is fine. That's for them.
That's exactly what me and Jen have been. Sorry to cut you off. Something that we've been talking about, because we were like once we joined and all of our friends saw how much more revenue we were making, so we started telling all our friends like, hey, you need to jump on this. That was our mistake, number one. Number two is like, we should have known.
You owe me a lot of money,
we
bro.
should have
I'm kidding.
No. And in your case, I think you'll be fine. It's more of the people that just can't let go. Judging by, we're all friends, by their personalities, I should have just not, mentioned anything and just let them keep doing what they're doing, because number one, they're not ready to let go. So this process is not for them. And then the friends who have let go, they're always texting me saying like, this is amazing. I was in the mall with my kids and I made X amount of money. And, that's great. Like, we're all reaping the benefits, because, that's one thing we don't have to do. The whole goal was to let go of this whole process, whether you're making zero on the sale. The benefit was you did nothing and they did everything for you. And if it was a positive sale, great. They both made money, and let's keep moving. Let's go on to the next potential client and prepare them for that type of meeting or whatever. But our friends that are struggling, I kind of feel responsible, because I was like, I kind of sold them on it and stuff. And like I said, they're not ready to let go of the process. And what happens is any little negative thing, whether it's big or small, they're just picking everything apart, because the whole experience is just starting to just sour for them, because they have this mentality of like, I'm going to do it better.
My thing is, no one's ever going to be like you. Now, this doesn't mean that no one can do it better than you. I'm just saying no one can do it like you, because no one is you. You know what I mean? Maybe they could do it better. All right. When Karis and I, we got to a point where I was like, oh my God, this is too much work. We can't do this ourselves. Right? It just made sense for us to find someone else, to find folks to add to our team to help us out with this stuff. And we accepted that fact a long time ago, that, whether it's AI or a human being, they're not going to get it to 100% of how we do it, but they might do a better job, or they can even get us very close. Right? But the thing is, after we learned to let go, right? After we learned to let go, our business exploded. This is like in 2013. We, our photographers are never going to shoot just like us. Our editors are not going to ever edit like us, you know, but they still do a pretty damn good job. Okay. And we're so proud of them. And it's because of them that we've been able to experience this massive growth. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of people are, like you said, they're just nitpicking on the little things. They're seeing all the leaves and all the details, right? But they're missing the bigger picture, the entire forest.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, you're losing out on a lot of opportunity by just like focusing on this stuff that doesn't really matter, you know? So
That's so
anyway,
true.
that was my 2 cents.
I want to add
Yeah.
to your 2 cents because this is really good. Like, you see how you said no one can do it like you? Because when you're a business owner, you've been doing it so long that your eyes can pick up on certain things that someone who you hire won't see it like you. You've been practicing a long time. But here's the best part. The client, they can't see anything you've seen because they've never practiced it. So the work
Preach.
that the person you hired to do it, you see how you said it looks good, but not like yours? That looks great to your potential client,
Right,
your client.
yep.
They're like, this is amazing. And that's where the problem is. When you practice something so well, you become really good at it. And when you become good at it, you nitpick at what you do. So, of course, you compare it to someone else who you've hired and it's not as great. But of course, they don't do what you do. They can't. They haven't been practicing like you. But the great thing is that they're really good and they've learned how to do it in the short period of time. So when your client gets their work, your client doesn't know what you've been doing for 13 years. They don't have a comparison. So they're loving your work. But guess what? It's your brand that's doing the work. You're still serving. And if you can see that you're just still serving no matter who's doing it and they're part of your family, your community, your team, however, the serving part is the most important part, right? And having team members, that's an actual journey. You're teaching someone, you're giving them ability to make money for their family, support their family, you're investing in them. You're helping them learn skills that if they go somewhere else, take those skills with you. Do better. If you can do it, do it. Because guess what? We're here for a limited time. Helping people should be what we should be about. So when I look at it from that perspective, yes, I no longer nitpick when I delegate. I do my best. Even when I know I'm bad at it, I'm like, I tell the person, I'm like, listen, I'm a crappy delegator, but I'm going to get better at this. This is my journey. Because that's me. I'm always improving myself. So if I'm not good at something, I want to do better at it. And it doesn't mean putting them through hell. It means going, all right, I'm going to trust you. And I'm going to let you do what you do. And then I'm going to show you a little bit of things here and there because that's the only way you can learn. So I truly, truly love that you even shared that because I wanted to bring that point up. Your eyes are going to see it differently. But the client, they have no clue. They usually don't. They love what you give them, but they loved you from the time they inquired with you because your copy, your pictures were speaking to them. And that's where marketing comes in. So they already loved you there. So whatever you produce for them is still going to be good. And that's the fun part. When you learn how to let go of all the control you think you have, an illusion, it's not true. When you let go of that, you can actually soar. You can get to higher places and you still can serve, kind of focus on the serving part. And the more you do that from a community, from your employee, from your team member, however you call it, you're able to still serve. And that's the most important thing. So I love that. And I wanted to say something. You are not to blame and you will never be the person to blame for anyone's choice on how they manage or do anything. Trust me, I put my hands up to that. You'll always feel guilty because you recommended something, but the action that someone chooses not to take doesn't become your luggage to carry. When people usually do that, I go, how dare you think you're so big that you want to carry their luggage? Let them hold their luggage. Let them pull it, tow it. They're going to have a realization because the luggage is going to pop open and everything is going to scatter and they're going to realize something's not right. And they're going to figure it out, but it's not your suitcase, book bag to carry. You recommend, and I love when you guys said that because Jen's like, we're not like a salesperson, but you just sold someone on something. Selling is not selling. Selling is going, oh my God, this is amazing. It helped me out. Listen, you got to try it. That's selling. And the fact that you love something so good, and it is good, you sell it and everyone has the ability to make the choice that if that thing that you sold them on works for them or not. Sometimes things don't work, but they don't work because you're really not trying. Like you said, they don't know how to let go of the control. That's a mindset thing. That's a them thing. That has nothing to do with you, Ro. So one, be grateful that you're not stingy and you didn't keep it to yourself. What you said, Ro?
I said I definitely needed that talk right there.
He was getting
'Cause,
skewered by left and right.
not at all. But I would look at it differently. The fact that you shared information like that to help other people generate revenue, that's freaking abundant. Right? You didn't hold it to yourself. You weren't greedy with it. Because if you're greedy with stuff, you're not going to get anything back. I'm
Oh,
telling
he
you
was
that.
openly sharing. It's like, yo, check out my pool that I'm building in the backyard. Look how big this pool. Yo, I put a deck out
It's
too.
so good. It's so good. But I love the fact that you did that. And I think you should always be able to do that, because sometimes those experiences can taint you, because if you share it and that person's not having a great, in the back of your mind, your subconscious going, never share anything again, just keep it, because if no one, but how many other people are appreciative, right? That's the weird thing.
Yeah,
There'll be
we are.
one person out the bunch.
Yeah.
Yes, right? There's one person out the bunch who's complaining out of the 10 you helped, but you're going to focus on this one negative person, and then you're going to be like, I'm never going to tell anyone anything again, when those 10 people are telling you how amazing you are because you shared the information. You know what I mean?
You're sharing your secret sauce, And like,
Yeah, listen, I just want all my friends to, do well as well. And if it's something that works, and I know it works because we went through it, and if we're not doing anything out of the ordinary, so if we can do it, anyone can. And, that was my mentality of like, hey, we're making X more amount of money because of this process. You need to join because you also, you're my friend, and I want you to do even better.
I think the thing too, when you are sharing this information with people, sometimes you fail to inform them of the work that has to be put in as well. It's not that we brought on somebody and then didn't have to do our part. Like, this person needed us to do our part to make them successful. As a business owner, we had to do the back leg work, because we're working with the client from booking all the way until after the wedding. Yeah. Their part comes after the wedding. So if everything before the sale is they had a bad experience, I wasn't communicative, or they didn't have that red carpet experience from us, we're setting up that business to fail at the end. And then we feel like they're responsible for whatever comes after. But no, that's just the last final piece. They're making the sale for the process that we've already given the couple from booking.
Exactly. No matter what, as a business owner, as a human being, you got to do your part. I don't care what anyone says. You cannot abdicate your power to anyone and assume they're going to do it, and you're just going to sit back and relax. You still got to do your part. And I love that you said that, because a lot of people sometimes struggle with doing the part. And once again, it's not that they don't want to do it, and it's not that they don't know how. It's just something in them that makes them a little bit scared. And that's where the thing is. It's a fear. And there is a fear of success. There is a fear of failure, right? Like, those things are actual legitimate fears. And as conscious as you are, as conscious as you think you know everything, deep down, there is a voice inside of you that tells you don't do something, and you listen to it because it's your subconscious. And it's not, it's not open, and it is not your conscious. And only people sometimes can see it outside. That's why I feel like, for me, having a coach, having someone, because when they can see it, they can question me, and then I get to see it. And when I get to see it, that's where my power comes in. Because once I see it, I can't unsee it. Now I get to do the work on myself. And now that's where things start really changing, because once it's open up to me and I can see it, I got power now. I can shift it. And once I shift it, it takes me to the next level. It's like playing video games.
Leveling up.
Get to the next level. Yeah. I love it.
Just level up. This is a great segue to our final topic I wanted to cover with you. The importance of, finding someone who you can share this journey with. I've mentioned it before. If you want to go fast, you go by yourself. If you want to go far, you go with someone, right? Have you, in your journey, have you found a coach or a mentor, someone who's done what you're doing or trying to do, to maybe, help you out with your journey? Let's talk about that a little bit, like the importance of finding someone like that to help you in your journey.
So this is so much fun for me, because I've had both worlds, right? So when I started out my business, I was telling myself I couldn't afford anything. So of course, if any courses open up, any coaching, I was like, I can't afford it, right? Shut it down. There was no room to even try. I was like, nope, don't have it. And as much as I said I don't have it back then, I had it, but I never saw it because I never was trying to see it. And I got a coach in 2021. I was speaking to my friend and I was like, I want to be better with my systems. And that's when I was in my discovery zone, when I didn't know I was a system person. And I knew I wanted something better. So I just needed someone to work with me. And she referred me to my coach, Gretchen, at that time. And Gretchen was a systems coach because she worked in building systems. Gretchen and I was working. She would help me get my processes. She'll help me understand and see things. I already had it in my brain. She was extracting it for me. So she would just keep us extracting it. But she would also do mindset work, because things would come up and she'll be coaching me because she's a coach. I worked with her for 3 quarters. So around 12 months, I was working with her. And at the end of 2021, we had concluded, but she helped me get to my value proposition, right? She helped me make the business model change and stick with the decision, not be indecisive, not be all over the place, but decide. And in 2022, first three months, I made over 60, 70K easy. And when I made it, it was because of Gretchen. I'll give her that. It was Gretchen. I was in a sales group. I showed up in the sales group. I struggled in the sales group. I asked questions in the sales group. I showed up in the sales group. To this day, they gave me value. Now I give value back in that sales group because I do really well. So Gretchen helped me. She helped me make triple my investment return. And after Gretchen, recently someone has a program and she has a book and when I saw it, it was amazing. And I'm skipping a part, but before her, Gretchen is a coach. She was certified at this place called the Life Coach School with Brooke Castillo. And when Gretchen was coaching me, she was teaching me something, but I didn't know about it because back then I was brand new. My brain was like, what's this? I don't know what this is, but it was helping me. When I went into Life Coach School, I went for a weekend seminar virtually. She invited me. And it was so funny because the day she invited me was the day that they were selling the course. She felt bad. She thought I was thinking she invited me to sell me. But it was so amazing because when they were selling, they aligned with me. They aligned with my mindset. The Happy Pocket put me in a different mindset. So when people speak to me, I hear things differently. That's what it did. It opened up my mind to see things differently. So when this person, Brooke, was selling, I didn't know Brooke. She has a podcast. She has a successful program. She's making millions. I had no clue who Brooke was, but Brooke sold me a $21,000 coaching certification. I've never spent that much money in my entire life. And when she sold it, and I didn't go, oh my God, I can never do that. I went, do I have this money? I started looking in my QuickBooks in every corner. I did not see it. It was not showing up. It was not available. It was not available anywhere. And if you buy the whole thing, it's $18K. But if you pay $3,000 over a month, it's $21K for 7 months. So my brain did the one thing that I loved that it did because I saw the change. It said, don't worry, we can generate this. And I was like, all right, I'm in. And the funniest thing happened on Sunday, being virtual. They were calling people up. And I had a banner so you knew I bought into it. And when they called you up, you didn't know you were being called up. And that Sunday they called me up. Mind you, I lost my voice Thursday. It was like coming back. And it was one of the best testimonies that Brooke had, that I'm on her website and she sells her program through my testimony. Because my whole point was I didn't know her. I didn't know her from Jack. Everybody in that room knew her. The only way I knew her was from my coach, Gretchen, because Gretchen introduced me to this weekend sales. I didn't know about her when I was with Gretchen. I never listened to her. But when she was speaking, I heard everything she was saying and she aligned with me. That's how good she is with her ideal client. She knows them really well. She sold me. And that was one of the best decisions I've made in my life. And let me tell you, when I started that journey, I remember feeling frustrated because I didn't know how to do this feedback. I would get feedback. I would turn feedback into a judgment, right? Because I'm struggling. When I struggle, I judge myself. So if someone says something to me that's in alignment with what I'm judging myself, I think they're judging me, but they're really not judging me. These are hiccups I have. They're just saying it out loud. And feedback felt that way for me because I wasn't getting it right. I'm a perfectionist. When you're telling me I'm not getting it right, I get frustrated. I got over that hump and I got my certification in April of this year. And I went hard at it because I just kept practicing and practicing. And from that day forward, oh my God, I sometimes feel like I'm out of control. I have a new coach. They have, like I told you, a program. I want the book. She gives her templates away she doesn't mind it. She loves sharing. I'm like, I invested, I think 7,000 and change in her. I'm like, all right, I want that. She spoke to me on Monday. I was in a workshop with her. Tuesday, we had a one-on-one. Wednesday, I booked her. She's never been booked that quickly. She doesn't know that well. But when it comes to me knowing what I want, my decisions are quick. You know what I mean? It's quick because I realize the value of a human being to me. If someone has something I need, I'm going to invest in them because I'm saying to myself, I need this. But guess what happens? When I actually invest in them, I get so much more. Gretchen's been that for me. Brooke Castillo has given me a community of people outside the wedding industry. I can't even express that. I get to speak to lawyers and doctors. I get to go conferences and hang out with them. We go to Miami, we party. It's not the wedding industry. You know how good that is to be outside the wedding industry because the wedding is a silo. So she's extended me out to a whole nother branch of people that I get to show up and be amazing with those people. That's what she's given that to me. She's given me the ability to be really confident in myself. I was already that, but it's doubled because I'm choosing to work with people who are helping me and they speak to me. So yes, that's been my journey, but investing in people that I see value, I'm grateful for that. And I usually I don't ask for coupons. I don't ask for nothing. I don't want anything. You tell me your number and if I have it, I'm giving it to you. And I'm giving it to you because I know what I want. I'm very clear. I'm like, this is what I want. Here you go. Thank you so much. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to build on that. And that's it, right? Like back in the days, people would pay you and they're worried and they're scared and like, oh my God, I paid. And I used to do that too. I would pay somebody and I'll blame them for not getting what I needed. But I blamed them because I didn't know what I need. I was so confused. So of course, when I'm confused, you can't really give me anything because I don't know what I want. Therefore, I'm going to blame you for taking my money that I hardly don't have. You know? Now, that's such a different story. I go, you have something I want. Here's your money. Give me what I want.
Give it to me.
Yes. And then I get all the other stuff on top of that. Girl, let me tell you, that's like amazing. That's my story.
So, Nikisha, tell our audience where they can find you. How can our audience find you online, on Instagram or whatever? Where can they find you?
My graphic design is NK Design House. My podcast is NK_podcast. And Focus Formula is NK Focus Formula.
Wonderful.
So NK Focus is like the most new IG page because, you know, sometimes you always question yourself, should you have more than one Instagram page? Should you just do one? I'm learning not to, I don't do that anymore. I'm like, that's so much work. I just go, do what you want to do. And I just create all three. And then I have someone who's going to help me manage it. NikishaKing.com. They can find me there for Design House. And focus.nikishaking.com is Focus Formula. I'm building that website. So I do website building for myself and my clients. So that one is getting built.
That's my favorite part of starting a brand, website building. So much fun.
Damn, let me tell you, oh my God, do you know, when I started, I made a big investment and for me, it felt like the worst mistake of my life. I made over $20,000 in a website that I've never used. No return on investment, nothing.
Wow.
It was a Magento back in 2012, 11, around that time. And I was really new in my business, right? No clue, no strategy, nothing. And then the day I decided to close it down, it was painful. And then I learned how to let it go. And the actual investment, because I reframed it, the reason I invested that was for the education, because I worked so closely with the company. I knew how to code, like I knew how to speak the lingo. So now I could build wireframes. Oh my God, designing a website comes so easy to me. I can frame it up. I can know where everything go. I can do it. So when people go to my website, it's so beautiful. But it took so long to get to that place. So now I'm with you. But back then, I would have told you it was hell because it used to sit on my shoulder, that pain. And then I had to reframe it because it was heavy. Like I tell you, Ro, that bag is heavy. I was like, it's so heavy. And then I was like, let's look at this a whole nother way. I've learned.
Yeah, you don't have to carry that burden. You don't have to carry that burden.
No, I learned. And now I do it for my clients, my wedding clients. And I love it. I make money off of something like that. So it's been a return on my investment. Years
That's
after.
Good. We love hearing that. All right, guys. This segment is brought to you by the Focused AF Summit.
That's Ben's radio voice.
I need a radio voice. You gotta teach me that, Ben.
Everyone hates it, but it's my gift. What can I say? So let's talk about, what do you guys want to talk about next? Should we talk about tea or you want to talk sales and marketing?
I want to talk tea because there's something going on.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's talk
Let's
about tea.
talk
Let's switch it
about
up.
Yeah.
tea.
Let's talk tea.
Let me give you the scenario since I'm bringing the tea.
All right, let's go. Let's go.
There is a location in South Carolina, I think. So it's in either North or South. It's in the Carolinas. And there's a luxury location that makes revenue on luxury stays. And it's on land that has history of slavery. So people died there. It was once a plantation. And what happened is the structure burned down. So they were able to rebuild on this property.
Mhm.
And when they rebuild, this place still has a plantation look because it's the Southern look, right? The architecture in Southern South America has that look. And there's a company that's like a smaller version of something called Engage. Engage is the bigger wedding summit. So there's a company I know of that does it on a smaller scale. And I've been to one of their events. So I know the people who throw it. And I've been in April this year, I've been to one of their events. So what has happened, and this is all he says, she said, but I try to get as much information as I can before making any judgment. So the person I know who threw the little event, I think before they decided on this location that has history of slavery in it, they were speaking to people or people were emailing them and people were telling them, don't do it there. Don't have your event there because of the history, right?
Mhm.
And as much as people kept telling them, and some of the people I spoke to that said we were warning them, but they went ahead and did it. And they had said, we're having it. So when they put it out in the world, people started to comment, right? And at first, they reached out to me because I'm a person of color. But when they did bring this to me, I didn't know what was happening. I didn't know anything on social media was happening. So I was giving it from my opinion. And my opinion was from a place of, well, if it's just land and it's not the structure, because it wasn't about that. It was about when I went to a plantation, when I went to New Orleans, what I didn't like was they knew this place has history, but they don't put it in the brochure. It's like this glossed over, we don't talk about Bruno. That's what it's like. We don't talk about that. We show you the outhouse. We show you all of the places they slept. We show you, but we don't say it. Like we don't say how they had a chart up of the kids, all of the histories there, but they don't say it. It's like this undercover thing. So the location that they're planning to have this event at was pretty much the situation. So when they announced that they were having it there, everyone went into the uproar. And everyone was people who never attended this event, never invested in these companies, never went there, but they were
That's always the
speaking on
case.
it. Right. And they were speaking on it because they were advocating for people of color. Right. So I get that. So people were advocating on people of color and like myself. So they were standing up for us because what we're trying to do is stop people from investing in those locations, because what they're doing is they're kind of making money off the back of slaves because they're on that property. And when I spoke to the person who was throwing this event, what she was struggling with is she couldn't see the other side. But the other side wasn't willing to have a private conversation. They was just publicly pounding, right? Publicly. And I guess they felt that way because they privately spoke to that person before. So when the person kind of announced it, it was like, well, let me publicly ridicule you. let me put you out there and show you why you should have listened to me. But they don't realize they're doing that because people, they don't realize that. That's my perception of it. That is no one else's. So in understanding both, because I felt like I had to be schooled, and I called a friend of mine. I was like, can you school me what's happening? Because I need to know. And when she explained to me about how this company that has this property, they don't speak about slavery, how they're on slave land, how it's not even available to people of color. You won't see a lot of that there because of how they're priced. And she was sharing a lot of information that made sense, how they market it, how they talk about it. And I was like, okay, I got you. I get it now. But I'm on both sides because one, I know for a fact as a Black person, as people being enslaved, when we are ridiculed, I don't ever feel like we want somebody else to be ridiculed. I don't ever feel like just because what happened to us in our history, we want to do it to someone else. And what people don't realize is that they're doing it to these two people who are small business owners, who are trying something new in the market, who are creating connections and networking amongst wedding professionals, who have been brave to take that chance, and they messed up. And when a small business messed up, I don't know if we have to go that hard. Because in all honesty, they're not the company that built the property on the slave ground. But no one's attacking them. No one's going after the venue. No one's ridiculing the venue. No one's on their social media going, you should be ashamed that you're on that property and you don't speak up for that property. No one's doing that, but they're doing that to a small business owner. And this small business owner, unfortunately, is in their storm. And when you're in a storm, you can't see nothing. So of course you're taking it on. One of them is not eating or sleeping. They have kids, they have family, right? And I go, well, where's the grace? Because grace is free. You don't have giving grace doesn't mean I'm allowing you to get away with the stuff you're doing. Giving grace is going, I give you grace because they canceled it. They didn't go forth with it. They did cancel it. Sorry, I didn't say that. They canceled it. When they canceled it, people still was like, why it took you so long? And it's still like, let's beat up on you more. And I'm just going, can we give you a little grace because you did something that actually shows that you are understanding? Can I just give you a little grace, and let me give you some room to learn and do better, right? In my opinion, what I did being in the coaching world outside of the wedding industry, we have a DEI coach that's amazing, 20 plus years of doing it. I connected her to them. I did that because my grace means, how can I make you better? Because if I'm going to speak up for my people and I'm going to show up, then I'm going to have to figure out solutions that can help you become inclusive, help you see the other side. But if I decide to beat up on you, not speak to you because I think I'm right and you're wrong, then there is no room for growth in that situation. And that's the tea I wanted to kind of bring today, because if someone hears this, someone might know what it is and they can respond. And the other thing about it that really bothered me, all the people who were speaking have never invested in the actual experience. They've never been to any of them. They had like 5 or 6. And I'm going, well, if you had that many and they didn't pay you, why are you worrying about these people?
Worry about it.
There's billions of people in the world, and you're worrying about like 10? And they stop you from sleeping? That's what I was telling you, Ro. 1 out of the 10. Like, really? And all the people who showed up, we understand and support you. So just reschedule it, do it at another location, get back on the horse. The outcome might be a little bit lower. Your numbers might be a little bit lower. But we've seen Kevin Hart. He fell, but he got back up again. Lizzo right now is in a position of falling, but no one's heard from her because she's like, I'm not in, I'm going to let my lawyers deal with that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to let people be. Don't, and it's hard for me because if I'm in it, I might feel the same way. But I would hope I have a Nikisha telling me, girl, help me see a little bit out so I can get out of this, because people don't realize when you're stressed like that, it becomes a physical thing. And if you have a family and you can't even, oh man, that hurts. I just I don't feel like it's worth to beat up on someone. And the people who are beating up are not people of color. I get that they're advocating for us. Some of them are people of color, but I just go, where's your grace? You know what I mean? And I just want just a little bit, just tiny bit, right? If you, and I just feel different. I feel like some people just don't know. Some people did warn them. I get that. If you warned them, they still made a decision. I asked, why did you still make the decision? Because I really want to know. And I've told them to do some work on that, deep dive a little bit. They don't have to tell me. If they want to, they can. But it's just doing that work. And that's just it. Just wanted to share that.
No, I think that was really helpful, because I think in the wedding industry, we tend to want to one up each other. There's a competitive nature to it, and the internet puts us up a shield, right? You don't realize what's actually happening behind the scenes when you are attacking a person.
Yeah.
Like it's easy to just type whatever you want to type, or feel like you have to one up the next person. Like you said, there are
Try
people
to cancel someone
advocating.
quickly, you know?
Cancel someone quickly and not
Mhm.
taking into account what's actually happening to them personally behind the scenes. I mean, they listened, they learned. Yes, they still booked it, but they canceled it. Let's
Right.
move on from that. I think that happens all the time. People do learn, they listen, they do what you have directed them to do. Maybe, but then you judge them for thinking, oh, are you doing this because I said so? Are you really not coming from a good place? And then you're attacking them for that. And then the cycle continues, and no one's ever going to learn because now you've shut them down by attacking them.
And at the end of the day, they did what you wanted. You wanted to get it canceled. They did it. Let's move on. Let's
Just find
fix them.
solutions. That's all it is. Just find solutions.
Yeah.
Let's work together. Let's find a way to make this work, okay? Without...
And it would be a great opportunity for a conversation. It would be a great opportunity to educate. It would be all of that. When you do education, like when you're a teacher in school and you teach the kids and they don't get it the first time, you don't go, well, you should have got it. You go, let me learn how to rephrase it. Let me help you see from a different perspective. You keep trying until they go, oh, and then they got it. And you go, great, we got it done today. So if you could do that with kids, I mean, really, adults, we still need that. You know, you still try to help them, you know? I just want to bring that because it was on my heart, but I just wanted to share that. And I'm just like, just grace, just a little bit. It doesn't have to be a big amount, just a small amount. And if you really, really are invested in them, then help them with resources. Here's a resource to do better next time. Here's a list of places that are great. Here's a list of places that we really don't want you to ever have an event at. No one's doing that. Did anyone send them a list that do not deal with these people? Let's like find the list. Because I wouldn't know. I could have booked a vacation there not knowing the history of it because I wasn't researching the venue before I went. You know, I've never researched a venue before I went vacationing. Have you? Any of you? Like, no.
You look at some pictures and you go.
Very rare.
You
look at the reviews.
Negative reviews.
Yeah.
That's
Nikisha,
you know?
in the 16, I don't know how many episodes we've done so far, right? But I think this is the first tea where we kind of have a semi-resolution and a happy ending and a lesson to learn. All of our past tea, there was no lesson to learn. It was just tea.
It's just like, oh my God, what happened here? And we need more backstory.
So wait a minute. What is your tea that you were bringing?
Okay, so about a year ago, Karis and I, we were shooting a wedding at this venue up in the Hudson Valley. And during the reception, one of the wait staff, the maitre d' just comes over and she's like, hey, so-and-so's here. I was like, what the hell are you talking about? And she showed a picture of the sunset and there was an orb in the picture. I was like, yo, that's just the sun flare, right? That's just the sun flare, right? And she's like, no, this orb is also here. It's like, she took several pictures and this orb was everywhere. She's like, so-and-so's here with us at this wedding, right? I was like, what the hell are you talking about? So anyway, this is a venue that's known to be haunted. You Google it and it's on haunted ghost tours and things like that, right? Apparently these are all like friendly ghosts or whatnot, right? But I guarantee you, I held my bladder in that night. Like I did the 2-hour ride home. I didn't even use the bathroom. Like I just went straight home and I held it in, right? And I was like, I am never shooting back here again because I always got the heebie-jeebies whenever I shot at that venue, right? The hallways are a little bit too long and a little too dark and dank, or whatever. Like I believe in that kind of stuff. So anyway, but I didn't really feel threatened that night or anything like that until she showed me these pictures, and then she showed these other pictures too. Karis remembers there was these pictures of these little baby footprints on the asphalt. There were no kids at this wedding.
Oh my God!
Right? What else? They would tell us stories about like how books would fly off the shelves in the library because the bride was just being an insufferable human being that morning,
nasty
yelling
person
at the kids, and then the books would just fly off the shelves, right? Sometimes the staff, they would go around from room to room because, they're serving sandwiches and drinks or whatever, right? And their hands are full. The doors would open by themselves because this is a friendly ghost. You know what I mean? So anyway, I was like, all right, I'm never shooting here again. So after I partially regret it. It's kind of my fault, but this was a really nice wedding. So I posted it on social. And sure enough, within 24 hours, I got an inquiry and they booked. And this was the wedding that I photographed this past weekend. So
at the same place.
Same place, right? So I was like, but I mean, the wedding was beautiful, right? Don't get me wrong. The venue's really nice. Food's great as well, right? So I'm telling my second shooter, I was like, yo, this where we're going this weekend, it's we got extra visitors, at least 3 that we know of. And so I'm doing my prep. And then this is during morning prep, hair and makeup prep, right? So as I'm going to, I figure that I'm going to go into the hallway and maybe take a different type of shot. As I'm going across the room, the door, boom, shuts in my face, right? I was like, and I do a 180. And
then ran out of the property. You never came back.
But that was my only exit. That was my only exit, right? I was like, and my second shooter saw me, like he was cracking
Like
up, and then the
freaking
hair
out,
makeup's like, who the hell are you talking to, right? I was like, I'll tell you later, right? But that was my only experience this weekend. I was like, oh my gosh, I deserved it, for talking smack about this place for like the entire year. But yeah, that's my tea.
What was it? Speaking of history of venues, did you look up the history of that venue?
Yeah, during the Revolutionary War, it's been around. It was an overlook over the Hudson River, so they could see the boats that were coming up and down the Hudson River. It's been restored a couple times. There's a man and a woman and a child that we know of.
And they don't have any history, like what happened to them? Like if something happened to them in the house? Is there nothing like that? Because why are they there?
I think the man used to work there. The woman used to live there, I think. So that's the word on the street. That's what my birds tell me. So, but apparently, I mean,
the things we come across in this wedding world.
What's that? I mean, you guys can believe it or not. Maybe the wind took the door. I don't know. But anyway, I thought you could see the soul leaving my face, my body, like when that door slammed in my face so hard. It wasn't even a gentle slam. It was like, like a movie, right? So I was like, oh my god, crap my pants.
Yeah.
I mean, if
I would have had the heebie-jeebies. I wouldn't go back.
Yeah. Like, would you guys shoot at a haunted venue? Would you guys shoot at a haunted venue?
I would. I don't mind.
I think I would. And my first, can this ghost help me set up lights? Can the ghost help me throughout the day? I have extra cameras. Can this ghost help?
That's too funny.
Put that ghost to work.
Yeah, do grip and grins and cocktail hour. Help me out.
Get me some food during cocktail hour.
Money, they got nothing to do with your money. They don't need your money.
But
so true. They don't need anything.
Yeah, there's some photos that the staff at the venue showed us. It was real. Yep.
You got faces in the mirror. You got faces in the window.
Yeah, they're the little baby footsteps that led up to. She was telling me the baby footsteps were leading up to a glass door. And then on the glass door, there was a legit shadow, a shape of a carriage with a horse. And she has a picture of it and she was showing us. We're we were freaking out. And the footsteps disappeared by the door. Basically, the kid went
because the door
onto the
went
carriage.
to a sales office. The sales office used to be the stables.
Yep, stables. They said, yep. So, yeah. We're oh my God. Yeah.
It's interesting because you get to see it. I usually can feel it. There's an energy. So I usually feel it. And that, like when I went to New Orleans, the hotel we stayed in was a historical one, the Monteleone, and it has history.
It sounds haunted.
So you could feel it. You could feel the energy. And I just go, listen, I don't want to see anybody and I'm good. That was just and I was in my room by myself. But you can always feel the unsettling. I can feel it, but I just don't want to see it, and I'm good. If we're on the same page, I'm good. And I try my best not to think of it. So I'll but that's it.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to, but I can always feel the energy of a space. When we came into our home, you can feel the energy. I'm like, oh my God, there was a lot of love here.
Yeah.
So there's something, but I try not to enter into the whole experience because I don't want to experience it. That whole door shutting. I'm like, it's time to go. I'm sorry.
I still had 9 hours to go, so I had nowhere to go. I had 9
Bless
hours
your
of coverage
heart.
left.
I would not be posting any more photos of that location. All of them be taken off my site.
These pictures are gorgeous. So I got to show it. But I'm a good human being. I like to think I'm a positive energy, right? And then these folks, these guests, these special guests, they also seem to be positive energy. So I have a clean conscience, a clean heart. I'm protected.
I agree with that.
All right. Well, guys, thank you so much, Nikisha, for hanging out with us for, oh my goodness, a very long time this afternoon.
Yes, great. Thank you.
We're very honored to have you here. And we're also very honored to have you sharing the stage with us on January 11th at the Focus AF Summit. For those of you guys who still haven't gotten your tickets yet, you guys can check that out at focused-af.com/summit, where you can check out more information. You check out the speaker lineup and see what we're talking about and all that good stuff. You can check it out over there. If you guys would like to check out some behind the scenes, highlights, bloopers, all that good stuff, you can find all that on our Instagram at focused.af. And we love hearing tea. We love hearing all your crazy wedding stories or anything at all. Just email us at hello@focused-af.com. We love to hear them and we'll share them with our audience. And I guess that's just about it. I think we're just about done here. So, you guys Focused AF?
Yeah,
we are.
I am, and I know Nikisha's definitely focused.
Sure, I am focused at AF. I got somewhere to go, and I'm working on that.
But you guys are awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thank you so much for listening. We'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. Adios.
Bye.
Adios.
Adios.
Focused AF is a fun, business-focused podcast for wedding creatives.
Co-hosted by award-winning husband and wife wedding photography teams, Ben and Karis.
And Jen and Ro, where we help fellow wedding creatives with their sales and marketing.
With laid-back conversations and real talk with some of our most favorite people in the universe.
And with that being said, are you Focused AF?
I am Focused AF today.
We are Focused AF.
I think I might be Focused AF.
Welcome to the Focused AF podcast.